So continuing here, guys, you can see, for example, here, it's this little thumbnail. It shapes, for example, like that, on this way. And it's not curved, for example. Is it that I want to do? It's basically we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 more or less. So I have 1 and basically 3. I need to add more elements here. If I want, I can play a little bit with this part here. For example, I can try to play a little bit with this part if I want. Let me check this part here. It's something more like that. Let me check here, it's okay. Let me make this landmark here. I can try to make on this part. So for example, I will create a color here. Let me select this guy here and I will hide this part. I will make a mask and here we're gonna have this landmark. Well, will be a funny challenge here. So I am creating these polygroups to mark these elements. So I wanna here too. And basically here too. And here too. So I have created this landmark. Let me check this part here. I want to, of course, here is not this part. I need to just change the color here. So I need press Ctrl Z, Ctrl Z. And basically what I need to do, guys, it's this one. It's all this part. So let me check here. It's from this point. It's okay. I remember, I think it's this one, yeah. And it's here, yes. And here, same thing. Wow, it's okay. It's something more on this way. Here will be curved and break here. So let me make the same thing here. So it's on this way here. This part, let me check. Yes. So basically is it that I need to do all the process. Make a mask. So let me, it's okay here and here, the same thing. And here, the same thing. Oops. Yes, it's okay now. Will be inner, so no matter. It's okay. Now this part it's fixed. Let me check. Yes. Let me think, maybe I could do on this color here and here make different, maybe. No, think it's not necessary for this part. I just wanna need to fix this region. Let me check here, this color, this color. It's okay. No, I think here it's different. Here it's different, guys. So let me check. This part it's 1 and here it's 1, 2. So let me check what's happening here. Oh, well, I think here is not necessary. On this part is not necessary to be divided. So this one can be one polygroup only. And here, same thing. So let me separate this part, and now I will make a mask and create different polygroups. Now it's okay. But here, then press Ctrl. Here need to be different. And this part here too. Oh yes. So here we need to make this thing too, because we'll be all this part will be together. So here, let me fix this part. Be on this way, and here will be on this way. Here, here, and here. Here the same thing. Let me check this part. Here it's curved. I don't want it curved, so I can try to make this part here a little different too. So basically will be change. No, I think it's not necessary. This part here need a different color. Let me check. Well, it's okay. Let me check. This part will be different from this one. Yes. So this part here, yes, I think it's okay. Now we can play a little bit with the shapes. Let me check. I can now test, guys. Geometry, Grease PG. Press Ctrl D, Ctrl D. So yes, this is it. It works. So Ctrl C, 4 can be. Now I'm gonna apply the clay polish, remembers 30. Ctrl D and set 0, softness and clay polish. Now it's cool. Now I will make the same thing here. Grease PG. 1, 2, 3, 4 subdivisions. So now we have this aspect here. Now I will apply the softness to 30. Clay polish. Control D, soften 0, clay polish to bring this highlight, and it's done. So we have this aspect here. Of course we could do it when we have merged, but I like to work on this way. And we could keep on this way. For example, let me add the normal map, and it works, but I don't know, when I merge it, combine it in a unique mesh, seems more natural for me. Here, if we want, we could add a landmark here too. Let me test. I'm playing with that, so we need play with these elements. I'm gonna press Ctrl Z, Ctrl Z, Ctrl Z, Ctrl Z, Ctrl Z, Ctrl Z, and I will redo the things. Is it that I like to do? I need to do these things. So maybe here, let me test it. From this point can be. Let me hide these guys, and I will create a new poly group. And I will try to make the things correctly. Try to make new designs. Here the same thing. To create this landmark, it's kind of this landmark. Can play a little bit, and here the same thing. Let me test it. Yes. So it's okay. Let me isolate this guy, and I think it's here. Yes. I like to work correctly in parts that will be not showing, but I don't know, I like to work correctly. So let me try to make a mask here, guys. And wow, it's okay. It's cool. Let me check here. Well, we can try to bring this part here, but I need this part here. I need a different color. Yes, is it that I want? So for here it's okay. Now we need to fix this part. Here we create a new polygroup, and here a new polygroup. And I think it's okay. Let me see. Yes, so now I can test the CreasePG. CreasePG, of course, remember to save it. Oh my god. R5. Oh. Come on. Please. Please, bro. Oh, it's saved. Remember that, guys, because really, if you need to remake some things, for example, oh, it was 10 minutes, but it's 10 minutes. Seems like days sometimes, so don't forget to save, really. And, well, let me check this part here. Let me move a little bit. Why it's a little, well, move a little bit. Now it's better. The flow. Let me check. No, it's not better. It's something like this way. Let me check. Let me see here. I'm trying to define the correctly flow between the loops. Yes, can be on this way. So now I will apply the CreasePG. Press Ctrl D, Ctrl D, Ctrl D. But here we have this curve. but it's okay, no problem. 4, and we're gonna make the same things. Grease, clay polish, I will set it to 13. So let me see here. Where you are, my friend? Softness 13. Clay polish, Ctrl D again, and softness 0. Clay polish, it's done. So here, let me check. Are you gonna press Ctrl D, Ctrl D, Ctrl D? 13, 30. Softness, clay polish, Ctrl D, 0, clay polish. If I want, I can use the high polish, but I will not do that. I will merge here. The lower subtool. Here we make the same thing, geometry do lower. I will merge then. Let me save first. Come on, please. And let's go. So we merge, then merge down. Now we apply again. For my situation here, guys, for your situation, it tests because the size, all these things, will be affected by the resolution. It's affected by the size of the meshes. So let me see, it's okay. Now I can go to geometry, clay polish, and voila! Here we have more these faces. It's very, very cool. And of course, if I want here, I can use high polish or smooth some parts. I will not smooth some parts. Here I think we need to fix this part. Something more hard. Come on, it's a little strong. Maybe it's because let me reduce the intensity. Maybe it's because the saved was saved. So it's normal these things happen. So let me try to use high polish here and create this square here because it's too curved and I don't want it. Something like that, it's better. Same thing here. We can try to make something more on this way. Yes, not curved. It's a little better. Make more sense for this situation, of course. Here I can just smooth. Where end this transition here. Here the same thing. And here. Let me clean this part. And here, if we want, we can add the elements. Here it's a little strong. I don't know. It's probably because I have saved the project, guys, and sometimes we have this bug. Let me use Dynamesh again, and I use the high polish here to fix this part and make this transition here, it's all together. So I'm trying to fix these things. It's okay here. Let's merge it. Let me increase this part. It's okay. And here the same thing. And this part and this part here. Can just smooth here if I want. Make more polished on this way. If I want to play a little bit. Let me increase a little bit this part here. Use high polish. and smooth a little bit to bring more hard aspect here. Then we need to redo these things if necessary. So this aspect here. Let me check. Let's go. I have this aspect here. Now I can use high polish here a little bit to create more these landmarks. If I want, I can use move brush just to create these divisions. It's kind of these divisions. I can use the brush pinch to create this landmark a little bit. If I want to play here and here and here and here. This part I can smooth a little bit and use the pinch again. And high polish. Here, high polish, high polish. And we have this aspect. Very, very cool. So of course it's a little different that you use just curved elements. So for example, I will show you these little things make difference. So let me show you the difference here. Where you are, the copy, and this part, for example, if you want, you can use, for example, very, very clean. We have this option and this option. How you can see, look the difference. They are little tweaks, but make a different visual for the character. So let me go to skin shading, for example, and I can decide. So then we can decide which use. But it's good for you to see the difference. They things make different visual, and you can, for example, make other styles if you want, just to test. So I will continue with this one because I have enjoyed it. I think will bring a good visual for the character. Let me save. And is it, guys? This is basically our workflow to the hair, what we're gonna use in our interior hair and make it for all the hair for this character. This is the process. Will be not change. Basically, is it make a visual, then break it with these directions and try to use Dynamesh or work with Zero Mesher then. So is it, guys? See you in the next video where we're gonna see the process for the other parts of the hair. So see you there. So continuing here, guys, basically here I recommend you try to make a little different this part here. For example, try to make more quickly. So here we're gonna change the material here. Let me select the, oops, come on, my ZBrush, it's crashing. No, where you are, my friend, here. So basically what I will try to do now, it's make a little different. I will duplicate that and I will bring this visual here. And I will try to bring the volumes here a little bit. So let me close the holes. And here you try to define an overall volume here. So let me check how you can see this part. Well. It's okay. Here we have more volume. Let me turn off the dynamic. So in this point you have more volume here. So let me try to move this part here and bring this piece. I will need to fix it, of course. So this part here too. Just trying to bring a little of the silhouette. Of course, it's not this silhouette, but well. Yes, something like that. Let me check here. This part's a little crazy. So I can try to use the same process. Let me inflate it. The same process of this angle. It's a good adaptation. So let me try to bring here. Let me use Dynamesh here. Let me check, inflate, Dynamesh. So let me see this flow. I'll try to divide very like on sketch, don't worry about that. Let me make a mask. So I am trying to increase a little bit the how fast it's the workflow, because sometimes we need to try to define the overall idea, get the final idea, and it will be very helpful for us. So let me try to invert a little bit, bring this volume here, make more on this part, more curved. It's kind of curved. So let me try to figure out this part. I can use high polish if I want. Let me see. I have not enjoyed this angle, but it's okay. We can try to bring other part here. Or is this one here? So let me check this part here. We don't have this side angle here, so it's a little complicated. Let me try to bring this volume. And here maybe we can try to add volume or something like that. Then press Ctrl Z, Ctrl Z, Ctrl Z. Let me check this part. Well, it will not work. Let me try to make a masking by, let me see my mask by normals. Let me try to point. Let me use the mask pen. Let me check. Yes, it's very. Maybe I need to inflate it. Deformation, where you are. Inflate. So let me check. Yes, this part is very strange yet. So let me try to inflate here. Dynamesh. I need the volume yet. So this part here, coming here, very ugly, don't worry about that. I'm trying to figure out this part. And here it's coming to this way. No, I have this part and this part. This part we don't have this part. So this part here, it's different. Let me remove this part. So let me try to remove a little bit more. It's okay. Maybe I can try to bring this part. It's cool. this part here, how you can see it's on these directions. Let me use Dynamesh. Of course, we need redo these things, but I am trying to define the overall shape to have an overall idea. So let me check here using this way. Yes, we have this part here too. This angle here. Let me check this part, this flow here. Let me try to find something that makes sense. Let me see. This part here, we can just make some landmarks. For example, here. The random. Well, this part here. And try to play a little bit of the shapes. Here I'm doing a little quickly. Remember, it's not the best way to do it very quickly. So let me check. Let me test this part. It's okay, and here I can try to remove this part here. Let me make a mask. So I'm trying to find a design here, guys. Don't have a specific role. For example, you can play a little bit with your own shapes. In this first moment, I'm trying to find just a guideline, a simple guideline. So, for example, I can smooth a little bit these parts and try to create this separation here. Well, let me check it. Can smooth. I'm very aggressive here, but it's okay. Well. In the design, it's okay here. Let me smooth these parts. It's okay. I think here we can make the same thing on this design. Let me invert here. Of course, for example, I could create a polygroup and deal hide and close holes will works too. It will work better. It works better. So just creating a random thing here. Let me divide this part very quickly. Creating different signs here. Just testing. Let me see this part. It's a little strange yet, but we will find something that makes sense. So let me cut this part here. Then we will need reorganize some things. For example, here I think we could deal this part. For example, let me create a polygroup. Deal hiding. Well. Close holes. Deal hiding. Close holes. Well, will not work here. press Ctrl Z. Let me try to invert it, maybe. Well. And I am just creating a guide line, and then we need to try to bring volume and make the things different. For example, here, let me show you on this part here, for example. Let me show you this region and this region here. Let me cut using them standard brush. Ugly mesh, but it's okay. I'm just trying to figure out the shapes. So here, for example, I can make a mask very quickly and try to, for example, change this part here. I can make a mask here and try to make the same thing for this position here, for example. We can play a little bit with these parts. Well, let me check. Of course, we will need to refine these elements. Let me check this part here. Let me cut this region. And I will make a mask. I can make a mask here. Let me remove this part here. It's okay. So I can invert it and try to bring this part and play a little bit. Let me use the inflate brush. So just the overall idea and shape. I'm not even thinking about the correct design or all these things. So here no makes sense for me. It's kind of will be a good challenge to make this part. Let me use them standard to create this landmark here, for example. This division. Let me see. Very strong. I confess I not enjoy this vibe. Let me see the concept here. It's a little different. We don't have the big part here. It's something different here. It's minor parts. So it's something like on this way here. And this part here, it's a little different. So let me deal this region here. Deal hidden, close holes. And we have little parts here. And these landmarks, these mesh divisions, that we will need to try to find something that makes sense. Of course, it's something like that. We will need to try to find the way. It's normal, guys. It's normal. Well, just let me put some landmarks here. Just let me check some parts here. We'll need to try to find. all these elements will be a good challenge here. I confess I am not enjoying this back part. Oh, well. Let me see here, the volume. We will need more volume here. We will need to fix all these elements. Will be a good challenge. Let me check this part here. Oh, well, yeah, it's not good. Not good. So I can use geometry and clay polish very quickly just to have an overall idea. It's okay. So this is the way that we will need to define. Maybe this part is not good yet. This flow, something like make different. Well, this part will be a good challenge. So here, guys, I recommend you spend a long time testing and defining some parts. So here maybe we'll need to play a little bit more. So here it's something more like that. On this way, I can use high polish here, create faces. Let me check on this way. It's very hard to find a good visual, so this first moment I am trying to play a little bit with that, and then if I want I can redo the things. And this part here, it's a little strange. So here we have this flow that we can just add it if we want. For example, here we have two flows, and here we have a big flow. So we can try to do that. Well, this first moment we're gonna do that. It's this shape. These volumes, let me test. Maybe here we need add volumes here. For example, on this part here. This region, for example. We will need add these volumes. Let me try to make some mask here to fill a little bit of this part, or we can add other elements. So let me check, make a mask here. It's okay. Bring these shapes. Let me play a little bit with that. So let me test. This part will be very, very interesting. So maybe we can try to bring more close these elements. And change this part to this way. To close this gap. So it will be necessary. Well, let me check. I think this part it's okay. Here we need more volume on this way. Here too. And this part it's more volume in this region here too. And will be a good challenge to fix these volumes here. And this part here too. It's something like a volume here. Yeah. So it's very ugly yet, so we need try to define something that makes sense here. So this will be our challenge, guys. This will be our challenge. Let me check here. Maybe we need to increase this, the cap. Oops, press Y. Fix it. Let me reset and fix this part. Press X to turn off the symmetry. And increase a little bit. Now it's a little better. Yeah. Let me check the proportion. Well, we'll need to find a good silhouette here. Think on this way, yes. And now we will need to try to find a good volume for it. For example, come here or not, or here and here, something like that. These volumes will be our challenge will be on this way. So let me see, it's okay. A good way maybe it's add these spheres and try to create some things like that. This part little maybe seems different. Let me change this part here. Can be on this way maybe. Let me check. Yes, it's good. No, we'll keep on this way. So this part need to be more to side. Have more volume. So well guys, this is it. We need to try to define some shapes, some cool shapes and silhouettes. So this is the way. Now we'll try to, from this point, make something better. Let me save to 6. And is it guys, in next video we're gonna continue. And hey guys, how you can see here we have this design. It's the same that the others, just for this one I have used just the low here and use a decrease PG. So how you can see from this point, from this sphere, I was blocking part by part, trying to figure out the concept, something similar, find the silhouette, making the polygroups. Basically this is the work. So very simple. Here basically I have defined the silhouette and the polygroups. Then it basically use decrease PG and Ctrl D, Ctrl D, polish, clay polish here with 30, setting 30. Then Ctrl D, increase the subdivision and clay polish again. Basically was it. Use that high polish to bring this more creased shape, for example, here. And was it? Let me set it more or less on this way. So these others, we have the Dynamesh, and here too. So I think it's not necessary sometimes, because here, for example, I have, let me see, it's up to, I have 20,000, 12,000 polygons. And here, for example, we have, let me see here, 160, almost 170,000 polygons. So it's too different, the polygon. So I decided to keep on this way. It's okay for me. And here, basically what we need to do now, it's try to find the back part that makes sense. So a good way here, how you can see I'm working, let me just see this part. I don't know, this thing comes here, I don't know, that it not make sense here. So let me try to clean this part a little bit here. Let me try to bring more to this way. It's okay. I think it's okay here. Yeah, it's a little better. So it's better. So here, guys, in this part, how you can see, we have more creased parts in this direction, for example, like a box. And here it's a little different. Basically, in back part we have, for example, one shape and one loop here. So it's more or less 1, 2, 3 points. It's okay, but it's something more curved, clean. I am not saying that it's bad, but for my style, I am trying to make something different, more like Fortnite or something more specific for games. Designed for games. And here I'm not saying that it's not for games, but I want to make something different. So here, a good way to follow it's these ports here. For example, we have 3 meshes here, more or less, and this one, and we can put this one, 4 meshes, and other meshes comes under these parts. So this is a good interpretation here to make it. So for example, we can start here trying to figure out these 3 parts, more or less 4 parts here. Then the other parts we can try to put on this way under this part. So it's a good idea to try to follow. So let's try to do that. I will use, let me check here, the sphere. So how I say to you, I always like to duplicate things, and I will try to solve this part here. So now we will need work together. So let me press Ctrl+C, Ctrl+V, sync the front, Ctrl+C, Ctrl+V, and back part, and the concept. So it's something like that. Let me see this part, and here I press Ctrl+C, Ctrl+V, and I will cut this part here. Let me test. And it's okay, more or less on this way. Yeah, well, something like that maybe can work. Yes, it's okay here. So now I need to try to find something that makes sense here. Well, let me see. This part here, this curve starts from this point, this line, so it's something like that. Well, but we have this back part, so it's a little crazy because we need to try to fix the interior part. So let me turn on the transparency and I will try to make this part here. Well, let me play a little bit with this part. We're gonna try to fix it. Maybe I can try to remove first this one. Try to create a big shape first, remember that. Let me check here, I can scale a little bit. This part. Well, it's okay, then press 8 to see this size. So this part here, let me see, I think we have some parts separated here, so well, will be a good challenge here. Let me try to make different here. Maybe a big shape here. Let me check. Let me see the back part. The back part, it's this shape here. So maybe I can put more inner. Then we're gonna have other part on this region. So let me check, it's okay. And we will need to try to define something that makes sense here. Well, I think that we can try to create these 1, 2, 3, 4 meshes first. Maybe will be good to help us. So we'll duplicate that. And I will rename this one to temp, because then we're gonna reuse that. And here you can try to fix this for these meshes. So let me see, I will rotate here. Let me delete this one, pressing Alt key and Alt. How I say the in the beginning, it's not basically, it's not for beginner. The course it's for intermediate and advanced. So you need know the basically of ZBrush. So let me turn off this part and let me see here this option. It's something more on this way, maybe. Let me check. Yes. Something more on this part. It's not necessary to be exactly as the concept, but we can try to make something similar. So this mesh here, I'm trying to figure out this one here. So let me move up here a little bit. And I think the shape it's okay. Let me see. It's okay, so I will come here and let me see, adaptive skin, make adaptive skin. So you do this one, let me see. No, I will not do. You just append a new one. This here, let me see. Yes, this one. Now I will try to remove some loops here. Let me check. I like to work as a squad, as a box. So look into this way. I have this one and this one box. So I think that we can, let me press Alt R to activate the modeler, and I will try to keep 4 sides maybe here. Let me check here. It's okay. Now I will try to remove a little bit this region here, because we have a lot of these loops. It's not necessary. Then of course I can increase it, but first I like to remove to work a little better. And now we're gonna try to work on the shapes, so I can use move brush if I want. Let me check here. This part need to be intense. Let me see here. Will be a good challenge. Let me see on this part. It's cool. If I want, I can increase this region. This part here. Let me make it different on this way, maybe. It's okay. So now we're gonna try to work on these parts. Let me see. A lot of work to do. And this is basically what I like to test, guys, to make the things. So I am trying to find a shape. Maybe it's too far here. So probably I need make it more close. On this part, for example, I think we can try to make something more on this way, because need to make sense. Well. Let me check here. Turn off transparency, so I'm thinking the side view. It's okay, need to fix this region here. So in the beginning I like to make these things. I'm trying to figure out how I can find a shape, a design. This part will be a little more difficult because it's the back part and we need to try to find something that makes sense. For example, in the side view and back view and front view. So basically all the angles need to be good. So when we need to make these things, it's a little more difficult, and this is normal. Don't worry about that. So the first step that usually I try to make it's this one. Very simple. On this part here. So let me check here. Let me turn off the dynamic, and I can make a mask, invert, and try to bring this silhouette here. Why I'm doing it? Because here, for example, I have 1, 2, 3, 4. So I need more space to do that. So it's normal, but I need to think in the side view, this flow. So let me try to make, I will keep this part more large. So let me check this way, and maybe here I can try to bring more close. Let me check here. Yes. Let me rotate a little bit. So we will need to try to find good angles. Well, it's okay. Let me see here. Yes, it's cool. So now we will need to try to find a good shape here. This side here will be necessary to make sense. So let me try to play a little bit. And this part here, we'll need to try to find a good design here. Maybe more sides. If we want, we could put a loop here. But I confess you that I don't want to add a lot of these elements. I just want to make something very simple. Well, maybe let me try to move this part here more to the middle to bring more this aspect here. Yes, it's a little better. Let me check here, side view. I want something more planar. Here it's mixed. Let me see. Well, this part here is more. Let me add a loop here and rotate this part here. It's something more on this way. Let me try to move this region here, and I will try to find a good shape. So let me see in front view, this angle. Let me check. This part need to make sense. So let me try to rotate this region here. I will fix this part here. This angle, it's cool. Let me check this part. So let me try to move this region here. Cool. Yes, this angle here, it's cool. All angles, try to look to the all angles. Let me see this part. It's okay. Let me check here. This part, yes, and this part here, yes. So it's okay. The first part here, let me check. Maybe I think that I can try to move down a little bit this part here. It's okay. So now I have this. Let me turn off perspective. Have this part. Now we need add a part here and other here. So the other parts will come under it, under this region. So very calm. And is it, guys? The next video gonna continue, so let me save here. Always saving. And all this process take time, so I recommend you make it very calmly, test new designs, play a little bit with that, and don't have a specific role. For my project, I'm using usually 4 sites. For example, here in this situation, let me check. I have 1, 2, 3, 4 sites. This one here, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sides. Let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes. For this other, I have 1, 2, 3, 4 sides. So each mesh I'm trying to keep him to 4 and 5 sides. Of course, this one it's a little different. These guys here, but the other parts I will try to keep it into these sides to create something harmonic and something that makes sense. So let me put in perspective. It's cool. Maybe then if I want, I can change it a little bit, move it a little bit if I want. But is it, guys? I have saved it. I already saved it, so it's okay. And is it, guys? See you in the next video. Here it's more for you see my process. Of course, if I was record the entire process of the hair, basically we could create other course, because this take several hours, and sometimes I make something and I decide that is not good, so I return it. I try new designs. I see, well, this is not working, so I delete everything and redo the things. So I think this is not necessary to you see, because we will spend a long time. And here the most important is you understand my workflow and how I am thinking to do that, because of course I'm using reference, but I am not doing something similar to these guys, this 3D reference. I'm trying to focus on this concept, on the main concept, and make something similar to the concept with my artistic point, my artistic visual. So is it, guys? See you in the next video. And well, guys, basically here we have the hair finished. So the workflow was the same for this one. Difference here, it's we have used a Dynamesh here because we wanted merge these parts here in a unique mesh. So these guys here, it's Dynamesh. It was used at Dynamesh, and here it's only the polygroups and Crease PG. So all the other parts was only polygroups, Crease, and subdivision. So basically here we're gonna see the process. So that was used at the same process for all the meshes, all the hair meshes. So basically I have duplicated this guy here, or this guy here. I have duplicated. I have cleaned the crease. So I was increasing all the part silhouette. So how you can see, basically I created, for example, this one, and I have modified it, and I was using the move, basically the move, try to find a silhouette one by one, looking in this angle, following the concept, try to figure out something that makes sense. So how you can see basically was it, just using moving here, guys, moving, only move brush. So how you can see masks and move brush. For all the hair meshes, I have used this workflow. So how you can see vertex by vertex, extrude when necessary, or edge loop when necessary, or delete the edge loops. The entire workflow was it. Try to find the silhouette and change the elements proportion. The entire workflow was it. Then I decided to keep trying to find the workflow, the silhouette, how you can see here. something like that. Similar is not a likeness because it's not possible to make a exactly thing like that. Of course, can be make something as it's not exactly but similar, but I think it's not necessarily this hairstyle. So here I have done polygroups, so how you can see port by port, polygons by polygons on this way, this loop, polygroups. I have changed here in this point because I wanted this part more marked, because we have this direction, different direction is not curved, it's something come this line and this line. We have this crease point here. So for it, I have divided this point, different polygroups. So come this flow here and here different polygroups. Here the same thing. How you can see here we have a crease. So this color is different from this one. So basically I have created the polygroups, added the crease, then with subdivision until 4 levels. Then it used clay polish and 30 soft. Then it Ctrl D to increase the level, the subdivision for 5. Of course, first I have cleaned the mask of the clay polish. So 5 subdivision and soften 0 and clay polish. So basically was it the workflow. Of course, clean the elements. Sometimes if necessary, press Shift D to change the silhouette, some volumes. Here in this situation, here I have moved a little bit. So basically this simple workflow was it for the entire hair process. So the same thing here. When necessary, for example, here we had something more like these polygons. I have added a loop here and changed the position. So how you can see, for example, let me come back here. How you can see we have this squash, for example, 1, 2, 3, 4 edges, and I have added a loop here. So basically to have this silhouette. So how you can see, first, of course, always working with polygroups. So I have created this shape. Let me show you this shape here. Let me see until here, more or less. How you can see, I was trying to figure out the volumes, the element, silhouette. And here, basically here, I saw that, let me come back here, more or less on this way, maybe. Yes, here I saw that, wow, it's cool, but I think I need a different direction here. So I have added a loop here, how you can see, and changed the volumes, the polygroups again, and I have done the entire process again. So basically, this was the workflow to all parts. So here, if you look, I have duplicated some parts, reused the mesh, for example, from this one. I was duplicating and changing the size, deleting some parts that is not necessary, and work with move and try to find silhouette. And basically was it. Then I defined the silhouette and polygroups was done. I applied the crease, PG, Ctrl D, Ctrl D, and the clay polish. So this was the entire process. Here the same thing. So always reusing mesh, so duplicating from ready mesh and try to make a different silhouette, reorganizing the polygroups, working with crease, PG, clay polish, and done. It's done. The entire process was it. So let me just load here this version just to check the back part. So is it, guys? Don't have a mystery, don't have a secret here. How is it? Let me do wall. It's okay. Let me select here, it's okay. So this was the interior workflow. The interior workflow. How you can see, I had this mesh, so I have duplicated, and I have just used a mirror when necessary, and move and polygroups. So trying to find silhouette, one by one, part by part, group by group. This part is not difficult. This part is more try to find a good silhouette and something that makes sense. So the interior process was done by this way. So how you can see, I have duplicated, look here, the same mesh. I've duplicated it and repose it, and basically change the proportion and the structure, adding loop if necessary, rework on the groups because I don't want the same element, for example, just a yes curve. I want that something like on this way, come something more crisp here and make to this direction, something like on this way. Basically, this was the interior process of the project. So how you can see, this part here, it's the same part, very, very, very simple. And this is the workflow to the hair, for this hair in a specific, of course. If you want to make a different workflow, different hairstyle, here in the future, for example, we can merge all it with Dynamesh when we gonna make the retopology. For example, if necessary, merge this part here, this one, or maybe try to make a different flow here if necessary, but I think it's not necessary for now. And this is a good shapes when we need make the retopology and work on the texture with Substance Painter or 3D Coat, for example. It's a good topology to work and very clean and easy. So basically was it, and I have changed here the proportion because I was looking here and I saw, oh, it's okay, but I think the proportion is not good for me. So here in this concept, it's something like, well, I have different proportion. Here it's a tall woman and here it's a short woman, so this does not make sense. So I take a print screen for my model and I saw that I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 egg head. Sorry, guys. And basically here I saw that I have 7.5, more or less 7.5 heads to the character. So when I make the proportion for this 3D model and this one too, I saw that I have different proportion. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, basically almost 8 heads. Basically 8 heads here, and this one here, the original concept too. So basically what I have done, I have changed this part from this 1, 2, 3, 4. Basically from this point I have changed the proportion just using the scaling. So how you can see, this part until this part I have scaled a little bit and reposed it. Very simple, look at that. Let me press P to turn off the perspective and you're gonna see it. And this part here I have moved a little bit because the concept, for example, this distance from this one here is not, of course here I have the opened the arms, but here it's a little too close, and this part of the belt in the concept here seems that we have this point and the belt more inner. So maybe if you want, check it, for example, in the future, make a little different, but this space here is not so good for me, I don't know. But of course for the 3D character it's working. And here we need have it in the perspective too. But this point here, I think in the concept, it's something more like on this way, and something more on this way here. So maybe if we want, we can work on this part. But here it's a little different. For example, the belt it's here and this point, so it's a little crazy. But a little tweaks. And here I have the scrolls a little floating. It's okay if I want, for example, I could, let me select the scrolls. You can work with folders, guys, it's okay. So for example, I could change it just using the rotation, the pivot, and change this information. But I confess to you that I prefer keep on this way. Then of the retopology, when I have texture add it, I can redo some things, some pose, different pose and all these elements. So in this situation is not necessary. So basically is it, guys. Very, very simple. Try to check the proportion of your character. So if it's a little short or a little tall, and try to work on it. I saw that this character here, her hands, they are very short, and the concept, they are very large, very big. But for the character, it's okay for me this way. This is not a likeness, this is a transition, adaptation. So it's working well for me. And if you want, let me do this guy here, the wall. It's, come on. I don't like to work with a lot of elements and subtools here. You need to take care about that. So come on, the brush, please. Don't crash, thanks. Let me check it. Well, let me load the previous version just to see if this is the original. Okay, so let me deal with this one. And here, guys, if you want, for example, you can merge visible, and you can turn off the color here, and you can play a little bit just with the other color, simple color, and you can take some renders from this way. Here we need to apply the boolean, but I will not do that. It's not necessary for now. And basically is it, guys. To the hair, we don't have a secret here. We don't have a master, the epic, something too crazy to do the hairs. It's basically start doing the things, try to keep the flow. For example, how you can see, I have this part coming to this side and this other outside in here. So it's something like that. We could, for example, use Dynamesh to merge everything, but I will not do that. I like to keep in this way. Then if I want, I can separate it, split, or merge. So basically this part, it's okay for now. So during the retopology or the other parts, we can fix these elements. So here, for example, we can try to think something on this flow, for some coming here and the other part ending here, these transitions. But it's cool because, of course, if I want to make some animation too, I have these meshes separated, so it's better to make the animation. When I merge all these elements, it's not possible. I make some separated animation here. And of course, here's not textured, it's just a polypaint. For example, here we have the polypaint more to have an overall idea about the colors and the elements. So if you want, you can paint a little bit the hairs, just put a a blue little bit. I think it's a blue color here. If you want something more on this way, I not recommend you make it in this moment. I recommend you try to make the high poly first, and then if you want you can make some changes. And the texture, it's done in Substance Painter. And something more hand painted, you can do, for example, start in Substance Painter, then finish it in the 3D code. So in next video, guys, we're gonna see how was created this sword, same workflow. So basically here to make the belt, the hair, the chain, all the parts here, the shield, and all these elements was used at the same workflow. Sometimes sketching with Dynamesh from a sphere, and the other parts from a box, started in modeling using ZModeler. So it's very simple. This word, it's the same workflow of the hair, because we need make something separated first, then apply the crease PG, and then use subdivision. So very simple. So see you guys in the next video, where we're gonna finish our hair or high poly process here of our character. So see you in the next video. And well, guys, here we have this sword. Basically too simple to do that. It's the same workflow of the hair, for example. What I recommend you, it's load my file here, for example, and take some print screens to have the frontal view if you want. But I confess to you that you can use the concept and make your own sword adaptation. So what I recommend you try to watch the proportion. The shapes, they are very simple. So very simple. Basically here it's the proportion that will be extremely important. So for example, I saw here that this part, for example, this point, it's short than part. So I think here we could, for example, I don't know, maybe increase it a little bit, scale it. I feel this part here, the silhouette, it's a little different. We don't have it, but well, it's okay. And basically here, this word here, for example, it's very simple, guys. How you can see, I can remove some loops here. I don't know, we have a lot of these loops not necessary. For example, this one, let me check in here. So this one too, and this other, and let me check this guy here. Well, it is not necessary because it's too much loops. Very simple. Here you keep, because we have this curve, but this one is not necessary here. Let me check. Let me see this part. Yeah, it's okay. This part here, guys, if I want, I could move it to get this result here. For example, this part, if I want, I could do that, but I will keep on this way. And these loops here, polygroup is not good. For example, if I use decrease here, probably I will have this landmark here. I feel, looking here from the concept, that this part, we have this scale, it's different. So let me check this part. And I look into the concept, I feel that I don't have this chamfer here. This part, it's different. It's something like on this way and this way. something on this part and this way, and not a chamfer here. So I need to change it. So I'm looked at this sword, but I think we need increase the proportion. So all the parts very simple. How you can see this part here, very simple. I have used a decrease, then you subdivide that and use the clay polish. So all the parts was this, the workflow. Here the same thing. You can do it in Maya if you want. You can do that. Okay, here we have some problems because it's different here. It's okay. And these parts, it's not necessary crease or subdivision, just this simple shape, it's okay for us. So let me just remove these loops, the middle loops. So some things you can do, for example, here, all this process in ZBrush, you can do it in Maya. It's very easy. And the secret, it's the same thing that the hair. It's something more about it. Take time, be calmly, because you will need to repeat the same process. So for me, guys, I think the sword it's okay, but the thickness here, it's a little, it's too thin. So I will try to increase it, but I will not do that. I will not do it now because I need attach it on this file here. So basically I need to try to bring the sword here if I want, or of course it's not necessary. No, we can do the sword here, it's the different size, and of course we can, for example, work the next steps. For example, doing the retopology texture, we can make the interior sword here. Then when we have the game mesh, for example, the game mesh, the low resolution, we can add all the tools here, all the subtools, all the meshes in the same file. So now it's not necessary because the file will be a little weight here, so it's a little complicated. But if you want, you can make the sword and add here, just for a presentation or something like that, but now it's not necessary. So here, guys, the sword, very simple. All the pieces, how I said you, are the same workflow. Here, defining the silhouette. Try to find the silhouette. Let me show you here. The silhouette here, and then change the polygroups, add the crease, and work with clay polish. Of course, here, for example, if you want, let me show you. Sometimes the clay polish is not good, so let me do higher. Let me clean the increase all. So here it's the basically shape. For example, when we make the retopology, we can connect all these guys, for example, in this way to optimize vertex to have a better poly count. This part here we can remove too if you want. It's okay to clean the mesh. And basically here, guys, I will do this. I will add the crease PG and Control D, Control D, Control D. It's okay. I will not use the clay polish here because you will get a bad result to the model. So for example, it's not good. So we'll just use the subdivision. And if you want to not use it, it's okay too, because you have the high version, but it's okay. So very, very simple, how you can see, piece by piece. Here the same thing. Very, very simple. Don't have mystery here. Shape by shape. For example, in this situation here, I have used just a box. For example, just a simple box. And it's okay. Very, very simple. And this part, I've done separate that. We don't have these details. If I want, I can do using Dynamesh here or using Substance Painter, the high channel. I can do that. So very, very simple here, very easy to do that. So how we are doing watching advanced course and intermediate, this will be your exercise, but don't have a mystery. For example, the stones here are very simple. In this situation, I have a question about the edge loop, but you can do the same thing that here. For example, just across. Very, very simple. So is it, guys. Here basically we have finished our course. This other process where we're gonna see, for example, this structure, the thickness, we could make this test, but I will do not now, because I wanna make it when I am doing the low resolution. Basically here, I think, for example, something more on this way. So probably I need to change all this structure here. This one here. Or for example, I can make different. I can make on this way more thin. Okay, just a suggestion for you. And this part is not chamfered. It's just a straight line here. And not on this way. It's something more like this way from this point. So is it, guys? Basically, this is the high poly, and when we have the high poly, we're gonna until this point. I would like to show you the process to make this detail here. For example, let me show you this part here. For example, we have this draw, and let me open the Photoshop to explain you. Let me see here in texture, and I will activate my texture that I have done. So I have this draw, very, very simple. Of course, this is not the final texture here. Sometimes I like to do that just to have an overall idea. Some points here that I am not enjoying was the torso proportion here. I don't know, I'm not happy with this proportion here. Not make sense here. I think this torso, it's large than here. The length, it's different. Just a feeling. I don't know if it's the final. It's correctly this feeling, but for example here it's a little different too. It's more curved, we have more smoothness, and here it's sharp. It's different. So it's okay, this is my adaptation, and then if I want to make something different, and this part here I'm not happy to, because the belt for me need to be more on this way. For example, it's something like that, the belt here, and here the cloth. So this line of the cloth, it's out of the belt. For example, here, of course, a little bit, but here, this is not. This is different. So this little point is extremely important to you. It's extremely important to you know about that. Just know about that. For example, I know that I need to make this change in the future, or for example, I have finished at the character, but I know that I could improve this point. It's okay. It's not necessary to make this change, but I know that we have this question. For example, this part here, I know it is not so good, maybe more thin. During the retopology, I can fix it if I want. It's important you have this self-analysis. So here I will show you about the texture here in ZBrush, the UV map, how I have done it. So basically, to explain better it, I will select cube. Let me go to the plugin, UV Master. Let me see here, and I will apply the unwrap. So let me make Polymesh 3D first. It's okay, and I will do all this part here. Let me go in display properties. You can follow it, guys, just to understand about this process here in ZBrush. So it's okay. So from this point, I go to the plugin, unwrap, and here in the plugin of the master unwrap, now I have unwrapped it, so I can click on this part here, flatten. Basically, this is my texture here, my UV map. So for example, if I come here in texture map, for example, let me see here where you are, UV map here, I can change the UV map size, it's okay, but here in texture, I can create a new texture from UV map if I want, or here, let me unflatten this option, and I can click and copy this. And sorry guys, it's not copy this here, it's basically a texture from UV check. So now we can use this UV check, it's okay. Now we press clone texture, and here in texture I can paste it. So let me see. Basically here I have used the clone texture, so the clone texture comes to this part, and I can export it. For example, here export. Let me put here UV map cube. Here I can set the things if I want. See how was the UV map here, the unwrap. I can press OK. And basically now here in Photoshop, for example, I can open. Let me see here. And I can open the UV map. It's okay. So for example, now, if I make some draw, or for example, let me take a print screen very quickly here to show you. Just an example. Very simple. Just here, it's basically just to set something or use as a reference, not for example to make a correct texture. But just to explain better, if you want from this point, you can open the UV of your character plane. For example, you can make the draw here, the correct draw here. Use the pen tool to create its shapes, for example, and make these things. We have a lot of options. So here Let me show you and put a white color here. And I can play a little bit with that here. Just to explain the things. And well, let me create a blue color here. This color here is purple. And now I can mix here. It's not, for example, guys, a texture process. Here you can use just to set the texture, use as a reference, but when we are working with ZBrush, it's not to make renders. Here it's the high poly, then we need make the other process. Basically, to make texture in ZBrush, it's when we are working with organic things, for example, head, the skin. You can increase something or make the base mesh, but the final texture it's done in Substance Painter for games, of course, or 3D Code. Of course, ZBrush can help, yes, can help us, but it's not the final software to make textures, for example. And now we can, for example, export here. In this situation, you export in PNG, and I will save it. And now here in ZBrush, I can load, import the texture here. So how you can see, we have the texture here. In this situation, it comes flipped. So it's simple to solve it. If I want, I can change here. Let me merge everything. Change, transform, flip vertical, and transform horizontal. So export quick PNG. So let me load again, and well, it's done. Basically, the process to do that was the same. How you can see, I have opened the UV, so I can flatten it. Let me see, subdivision. I have subdivide, so it's not possible, so let me deal and flatten. So basically is it here, my UV. And it's more to see the overall idea. It's not something like let me unflatten. It's not to, for example, then press Ctrl Z, Ctrl Z. Well, no, it's okay. It's not to get the final texture here. For example, I have my final texture. No, it's more to have an overall idea about the character. So all this part, the ornaments, this color, and all this structure, it's worked on, will be worked on during the final texture. For example, in Substance Painter, or if you are doing something hand painted in 3D Code software. So basically is it, guys. Here I not make the boolean because it's not the time. Sometimes it's necessary to make just a simple pose to show you the result, the work in progress for your client. And this first part is it of our character. We have of course the details, the landmarks. We could making the armor and all these parts, but I will not do that now because I don't like working these fine details on this part. I like to make it, for example, if necessary during the texture process. So I go for Substance Painter, make the textures. Sometimes I need some landmarks, so I return to ZBrush, make the landmarks, and to Substance Painter, bake the maps, the normal map, and make this change. So here is the high poly. So is it, guys. I hope you have enjoyed this first process, this first part where we have the high poly character. It's very, very cool. It's very similar with the concept, And the hair, I have enjoyed the hair. This is my technique that usually I use to create the hair similar like the Fortnite. And this is it, guys. I hope you have a great day. Any question, please send me. So see you guys in a new course, in the other course. All the best.